Hey, this is Zero at Cars to Infinity HD. In this video I'm going to be reviewing Cars Race-O-Rama for the Xbox 360, which originally released back in October of 2009. This title is also available for the PlayStation 2 and 3, the Wii system, Nintendo DS, and the PSP. Now, I just finished doing a 49 video walkthrough covering the main game's story mode, so this review will be sort of a recap and also discussing my own experience playing through the game. To start with, the story in this title revolves around Lightning McQueen and Chick Hicks, which they're both training students for a racing competition, and as you play through the game, you're basically going up against cars that Chick Hicks has trained to race against you. He trains them to race a bit unfairly, and of course in the end they learn that racing the fair way is the best way to go. So it has a good storyline for the younger crowd, I guess, but the story itself isn't really all that interesting and was just sprinkled into the game with very short cutscenes that pretty much just introduce you to the new characters in the game. Now, when this title first released back in 2009, it did not get that great of reviews. In fact, Metacritic has the Xbox 360 version scored 54 out of 100, which is a really bad score for any full release title, and a big reason for the poor score is because of the two very specific optional events that are found throughout this game, and that is the monster truck and mini car or forklift karting events. I breezed through most of this game without having to retry very many of the actual races, but those two events I did end up having to spend a lot more time on because the controls for both were very flimsy, to say the least. The monster trucks weren't incredibly bad. They would spin out on occasion when hitting a bump or taking a turn too sharp, but those events were still somewhat fun. However, the kart racing was a completely different beast altogether. Half of the events were tough but manageable, but the other half were nothing short of flat out broken. A couple of the events I decided not to upload for my walkthrough because I absolutely could not make it 5 laps without spinning out a couple times or finishing any higher than 3rd place. Kart race event number 3, I spent at least 45 minutes if not longer trying to complete it before I finally just gave up on it altogether, and the same with the one that I'm showing here. The problem is a few of the tracks aren't really that level, and when your forklift hits a bump, it will sometimes just completely lose control, or when you try to turn and the track isn't completely level, it either doesn't respond or it will begin to turn, and when you let off the analog stick, it will just continue turning. Even once you get out of the turn, your car seems to get stuck in a turning motion and wants to continue veering off left or right instead of simply going straight. To make matters even worse, if you try to break the turn animation by pointing the analog the other way, it will just spin out. So eventually I just started riding the wall instead of actually trying to turn for some of these tracks. But the problem there is the computer AI is just so brutal that it makes it almost impossible to catch 1st or 2nd place. There's a few videos that I've uploaded of me doing the kart race in which I did the entire race almost flawless, just perfect, and the computer was just stuck right behind me. So no matter how good or bad you are, the computer is always going to be right there with you. So when you make a mistake, they're going to pass you, and a lot of times you're not going to be able to catch back up. Another issue I kept coming across in these events were the actual tracks themselves were broken, as in you could drive through some solid objects, which I did for one of the races to take shortcuts. Other times I would just simply fall through the track, and again, all of this is just with the karting events. This doesn't happen with the other events in this game. I could spend an entire review discussing just how bad these kart race events were, but let's just go ahead and move on. Just take my word for it, they're pretty bad. One aspect that I really liked about this game is that you can customize Lightning McQueen with new parts, new paint jobs. There's an awful lot to choose from once you finish it, so it does give you an incentive to play through most of the events. The handling for the standard racing events felt a bit loose, but they were still decent. The racing itself was actually really fun though. Most of the bigger racetracks were designed really well with shortcuts here and there, also big jumps, big ramps to help keep it fun and interesting. The voice acting was really good throughout the game. They do reuse a lot of the same lines, so you might get tired of hearing them say the same things over and over again. The story mode offers a great variety of events, such as autocross, which has you avoiding orange cones as you work your way to the finish line, relay races, which have you driving a different car for every lap, photo ops, which have you race to a specific point on the map as fast as you can to take a photo. Then you have boss battles against specific cars such as Candace, Chick Hicks, or El Machismo, which the boss cars do things like stream smoke behind their cars to make it a little bit harder to tell where you're going on the track. And then there's a few mini games tossed in as well that you do various different things in, such as sheriff chasing down criminal cars or mater drifting around a track. As far as an opinion on this game, Cars 2 is still going to be the best option if you enjoy the Cars universe and you just want to play as the different cars found in the movies. But this game is a very good second option. It's fun to play regardless of what age you are. I personally would have enjoyed it a lot more had I just skipped the kart races altogether. Those are pretty frustrating enough to bring the entire game down a couple notches, and I do understand why it received those lower scores because of that. But again, those events are optional, and when you focus on the other parts of this game, it's a lot of fun, and that's really the only thing that matters. Graphically, the game looks good for a 2009 title. The soundtrack is perfect, very enjoyable to listen to, and other than the kart race events, I really don't have that many complaints with this game. I usually spend a good bit of my own time playing more mature games, but I also enjoy playing titles like this because I have a 3.5-year-old son that really digs the Cars and Monster Jam games and the toys, so it's nice to be able to play games that he also finds interest in as well, and that's a big reason why I began this channel and why I do videos and walkthroughs like this, which I will be uploading a few more races using some of the unlocked characters on both this channel and also my other Cars channel, which is ReviewZoneHD. I hope some of you guys enjoyed the walkthrough for this title that I spent the last week finishing up. This is Zero at Cars 2 Infinity HD, and thanks for stopping by.